Welcome back to Lost Odyssey. So let's continue explore.
Ah,
Yeah,
Was that treasure chest a trap?
yeah. It's like I said. Like after Blue Dragon removed these, it really feels disappointing that this one goes back to the random encounters because it's again just like as always with games from the 90s and 80s. It's really annoying when you're trying to just explore and you don't really feel like battling and you're just boom suddenly a battle.
My best
hell,
guess
even
is...
Pokemon, the most traditional RPG series that I can think of, even that's starting to move away from random encounters.
I'm wondering, my best guess is that Sakaguchi really just wanted to make another Final Fantasy game, and I mean in just about every classical sense, down to the presence of random encounters.
Like I've said various times before, there are certain things that should stay in the past.
And I get it. For some, random encounters do help a journey, but in that case, make it so that there's a toggle.
Honestly, I genuinely think the Chrono Trigger method is just objectively better. I don't really see any reason not to do that instead.
For the people who do prefer random encounters, keep them guessing and having to potentially change stuff up.
Not to
Like I
mention,
said-
I haven't played Chrono Trigger in a while, Pedro. Do the enemies like respawn in the same map if you stay for long enough?
I think so, but if it's a matter of just you wanting two characters to respawn, you could just leave a room and go back and they'll respawn. So if it's a matter of you wanting to grind or something, there are ways.
My take is, if you really want a case of random encounters, make it so that it's a toggle. Like, you
I
can
already
choose to have random
mentioned
encounters or not.
no, like you said, but that's too extreme as type of of a resort. Like you said, Brave Default put an actual slider for the percentage of it you want, which again, it's really just the optimal thing that you want.
Personally, I still think.
Okay, that's sort of what I was getting at. Like, have it be adjustable.
Because if you turn it on and off, you might as well just not let combat happen, especially because that is usually paired with stuff like maxing out level immediately. Again, it might risk to incentivize laziness by that. So it should be something instead that allows easiness while not turning off completely the experience.
Well, but here's the thing too. Like, if you go back to Chrono Trigger, like, yes, the monsters are visible on the map, but there are a lot of times in the dungeon where certain parts of the dungeon are designed in a way where the monsters are there are monsters where you cannot go around them. So the game still occasionally forces you into combat. So it's not like the game allows you to bypass everything. So the game is designed in a way where you still have to deal with monsters in dungeons.
I wasn't really talking about that. I was referring to what Jova was saying.
Yeah. I feel like, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like
toggle, though, like in the sense of
Brave Default.
adjustments and that.
For me, it's
Also,
I just think
There's
Chrono Trigger.
also the fact that if you see the enemy on the map, you know exactly what you're getting into, while part of a random encounter is discovering what type of fauna is present in a dungeon, in particular what kind of monsters you might want to watch out for.
I feel like I personally the best way to handle encounters in an RPG that for me is the way White Knight Chronicles and Ni no Kuni 2 handle it, where again not only are the monsters visible on the map, you get a good sense of how strong or weak the monsters are thanks to the coloring scheme of the names. And that way it becomes a lot easier for you to just not waste your time with battles that give you way too little XP and are not worth your time. That way you can, again, optimize your time and make sure you waste as little time as possible playing the game. Because a lot of time, I guess, with my problem with random encounters is that, like if I'm exploring, if I go back to an earlier dungeon for whatever reason because there's a treasure I missed, for example, right? Obviously, it would be really great to not have to deal with random battles because these random battles are early game and therefore they give me way too little XP and are not worth my time.
Well, usually a solution with that is stuff like what the Mario RPG did, as if you run into a lower level enemy, they get defeated automatically without having you to do a battle.
Yeah, that works too.
There are multiple different solutions for this, and admittedly, some of them will vary based off of the type of game you're going for as well. But I think one thing we can agree is it would be best for there to be at least some form of choice.
See, the thing about...
Like,
For me, it's one of the... See, the thing is, the random battles originally appeared in RPGs because of hardware limitations in the 80s, right?
Actually, it was also an adaptation of. Remember, Pedro? Okay, yes and no. Remember, stuff like Highlight did still had that, and it was one of the first prototype of an action RPG. The reason of the random encounter was because RPGs were an adaptation of D&D. While still taking inspiration of stuff like Ultima, which did had, enemies displayed on the map, the random encounters were a thing that were more common, in tabletop RPGs, as in, for example, your party rests at the camp at night, maybe you forget to put someone on guard, and you get ambushed by someone or something, or you walk randomly and you find these people in the dungeon. That's usually why it was there, to create that sense that your party may have a general knowledge of what be around, but when an enemy strikes, you basically get ambushed.
That is true, but what works in a board game will not necessarily work in a video game for me. Nestled within the sadness. And that's it. Go ahead.
That's all I can read. The rest is too blurred to make out.
The castle of...
Like, I'll admit,
What?
I get the logic behind companies back then with the RPG. Oh, snap.
What the fuck?
What?
Yeah, so even someone in the game just went,
Let me in!
The sorceress must have died while she was carving it.
Oh, come on.
Well, that's what's written in the mirror.
Perhaps he was dictating.
No. If she was dying, she wouldn't bother to call out
You just say it.
Perhaps she was dictating. Oh, shut up.
Shut up. Yeah, that's what... No, she wasn't screaming in terror, she was speaking Aramaic.
Sure.
But yeah, no, like, to go off of Tia's point, I can see the logic of devs at the time for the whole random encounters thing being an adaptation of that form. Because, and to be fair, I would say that there is a place in games for random encounters in that, about that keeps you on your toes and, forces you to maybe change stuff up here and there.
The real crux of things are usually instead two things: the speed of which the battles should be going, and how much rewarding do you get from the encounters. Because if it's a matter, like for example in this game of Final Fantasy IX, where because of the complex animations or wanting to showcase the spectacle of the moves, the battles may take a very long time even for basic encounters, and maybe you don't get enough experience unless you're dealing with a specific type of monster designed to be an EXP farm. Of course the experience will be more tedious, but not necessarily because you get encounters every 2 seconds, depending on the ratio, but also because the battles in themselves last long enough that you're mentally prepared, so every time you get into a battle oh no, we're doing deal with this again. So ideally instead, if doing something like say the most modern SMT games, which the battles are usually very fast or might have a sped up function, even something that might appear tedious, it's something that easily takes away not many seconds of time at best, which is not really that much different of still running an enemy that you can still see. The experience is technically the same, it's just a matter of how it's presented.
Warmth brings no solace. I can't read any more of this. It's all falling apart.
Good thing some of these people...
Yeah, it's like Jensen and Bing are able to read this specifically.
Yeah, like I was about to ask, is it going to be every time we find a bit of something to read, it'll be, I guess, a different character? Like,
must
are
be
they
sorcerer language or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder if they were implying that the characters have all split up and like this is them finding different sections.
The Scooby Gang is on the case, yes.
Yes.
It really just missing the portrait with the eyes looking at them.
I guess the idea is that over here, even though it's, not as haunted looking, there's still something wrong in the past. Which I guess implies that they're being plagued by a spirit or poltergeist. Oh! This time it's haunted bouts of suits of armor.
Mm-hmm. You also notice that the more wraith-like enemies, the reason probably why Ming's magic meteor missed them is because they seem to be immune to magical damage, showcased in the other battles so far.
I guess then I wish that they had another subtitle that said immune instead of just mist.
Well, again, another typical thing of RPGs is discover via trial and error on how the enemies behave. Usually that's what stuff like the Libra spell is for, or like it literally serves you to get information. Again, Final Fantasy 12 has something similar going on where the Libra is a technique, but for stuff like, for example, the bosses are deliberately immune to that, so stuff like discovering what their weaknesses might be, it's up to you.
I deduce that with this game, miss is pretty much a blanket term used for everything. Like, if an enemy is immune or if they manage to dodge it, essentially. Like, because, over, say, in Pokemon, they'll say something like, oh, the attack missed or the attack simply doesn't work.
Well, that's about the accuracy, Jova. Okay, there's a bit of a difference because I don't know if it's applicable super here, but most Final Fantasy games did have this, so I suspect Sakaguchi, brought back this, but there are basically stats about physical and magical evasion, applicable to it. While magical evasion is not as developed as potentially physical evasion, because, it's to be... physical evasion is something that you think of a thief class, so someone that's so agile that might avoid like a slash attack from an enemy like this. While magical evasion, it's not something that is really applicable to your party, but it's a stat that is basically put in the game so that a couple of enemies, might be able to not be afflicted by your spell. But it's different than being immune to a particular element, for example.
The reason I bring up the blanket term thing is, I'll admit, if I were playing this for the first time, I might have been a bit confused if, Mist was actually meant to be immune, since, typically when I hear it say Mist, I assume that is, tying to an evasion stat or whatnot, as opposed to just, oh, it actually did hit, they're just immune to it in that regard.
But yeah, as you noted also by the battle, another gimmick of the monsters of this place is that the armor can only be damaged by magic, while the wraith only by physical.
Yep.
Interesting. Makes some sort of sense. I guess this is a more physical type of wraith.
Alright, so basically, right now we're trying to find out exactly where can we go, basically. Alright, there you go. So now, locked on the inside. We used to never lock this.
Shouldn't that be Tia reading
Yeah,
that?
sure. Go ahead, Tio.
There.
Ah.
Okay.
Maybe the sorceress hangs out in the past because she's too lazy to clean up the house in the future.
Huh? Is this supposed to be a clock?
You will never get it, Jensen.
This?
It just has strange symbols over it. And no numbers at all. What is it? 20 past Vaz?
I think we can move the clock hand.
Yes, Luis, it's like the Crash Bandicoot wristwatch with its quarter past nose.
Alright.
Ooh, a ground bomb.
Yes, so let's move the hand and see what happens.
Yeah, you were mentioning Ultimicia's Castle, Jova. There is a bit of influence in
Moving point
this.
to the bow, the pot, the wheat, and the celestial sphere.
It's always time for pot.
Let's turn to the bow, see what happens.
It's now bow o'clock.
Well,
Doesn't seem
That
like...
did something.
won't move, but it doesn't seem to be locked.
Just break the door
Yeah, but
down.
I want to
then.
say I could just be bashing out with my main strength, but nah, effort. Not one turn. Let's use Jensen head instead.
Good idea. It's probably
Alright.
strong enough.
What you're actually supposed to do is go back to the present and go through here. Well, this is a garden, alright. But this circular thing on the ground, and that fountain, there's something fishy about all of it.
You don't
Oh, as
say.
opposed to this entire mansion, which totally is not haunted.
I bet somebody's supposed to go in the round holes.
The square peg goes into the square hole. Anyway, yeah,
That sounds familiar.
doesn't that look familiar?
Right?
And you'll notice that it's pointing towards the pot. So there's your answer.
Like I said, it always time for pot.
Yes, pot o'clock.
I guess in terms of time Buddhism, that would be really 420.
Fortunately, since we unlocked,
Exactly.
both doors in both timelines, it's relatively easy to go back and forth between the two timelines.
Yeah,
and-
short circuit.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah,
imagine that. Just
If this game had
casual
made in the West, they'd
jogs.
probably make that joke.
Imagine that. Just casual jogs between the future and the past.
I do wonder if the movie Home Sweet Home really was that influential in shaping up, Japan's love for haunted houses, because, or even was something even before that, because technically there's also Ju-On when you get down to it, the movie series. But I do wonder what would have been the catalyst that popularized that, because it seems to be really common in games that they did. Of course, Resident Evil comes in mind, but like I said, Home Sweet Home was a movie which spawned, Resident Evil's spiritual predecessor done by Shinji Mikami. So I wonder.
And we get a red copper band.
Yay!
And the doors become unlocked.
Alright.
Look! The door!
Weird. There must have been some kind of mechanism. You don't say! You mean the mechanism that we've been using just now?
Oh, Jansen, what are we going to do with you?
Alright, and
She
this
said.
this room is actually a room where something happened. Alright, let's see. Oh, look at that. So yeah, this was back when Kaim and Sarah lived here.
We're a couple.
Alright. Chest. Soul medicine.
My soul medicine that I really wished I could have used on Sarah.
Alright.
Well, clearly that was only meant for incredibly important bouts.
Of course.
Yeah, like my wife dying.
But your wife's alive.
And this was the bed.
How did your wife die, Kaim? She's immortal.
Oh.
She lost her immortality or something.
No, guys, remember, she lost the will to live.
Oh
Of
god.
course.
Oh.
I'll just say this and leave it at that. Hey Padme, you were having 2 kids. You didn't think it was worth living for them? No?
It's even worse than that, Pedro. It's, okay, I guess it is to Lucas to be blamed, but in general, they say the movie. It's the movie oversimplifying something that is rather delicate, which is postpartum depression. So, yeah.
Alright, let's go. I think there's not really much point to jump cut up at this point because I can very quickly get through. So, yeah, I'm
Again, thanks to the shortcuts.
Yeah, this is a much better way to make a unique dungeon compared to the one where I have to push the rock. Because the one where I have to push the rock, that one was just... Ugh. This one is much
But
better.
it was a big...
It was a big rock. Yeah.
Yes.
Like I
Now
said,
let's see how our
I am admittedly reminded of the dungeons in Legend of Dragoon because they have sort of a similar structure to these.
Now let's see how our actions in the past have affected the future.
Don't you see, Jova? It's the opposite. We change the future to change the past.
Alright, so now we get all the plates, and let's put in... So
We have to
basically,
put them in order.
so you have to put them in the same way that you see on the mechanism.
And if you remember, the pot part was on the right, so use that as a field of reference.
Who made this mansion? Oswald Spencer?
Well, I guess Kaim made it.
Apparently Kaim decided, you know what, just to screw with my guests, why don't I implement all these puzzles and
I
mechanisms?
mean, to be fair, he had a lifetime to prepare them.
Yeah. Maybe next time. Alright.
I guess if that was his hobby, what a hobby to pick.
Alright, so the bow would be here.
I showcase Resident Evil 7 job of, the son of the family, you know, in the swamp, also had enough free time to prepare his own jigsaw traps. So it seems
That
to
is
require
true.
that not that much.
There you go. All 4 plates are in the correct spot, as demonstrated by the triggering of this cutscene and the fact that I can.
Although, if I had to be honest, Kai could have easily jumped over that fence. Just saying.
Yeah.
Really could have.
This is the Pokemon conundrum. Oh no, a
Hey, Jova.
finely small tree. I'm forced to cut it.
Hey Jova, remember episode 2 of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog where Sonic and Tails get captured by that mole man?
Yeah, the bar.
Like that's how Sonic and Tails should be very easily able to get through those bars.
But if they did that, then we wouldn't have learned the lesson of the episode.
I guess so. No, but don't you see, Joe? But they would have escaped, and the lesson of the episode could have been: next time you build a jail cell, make sure the bars are closer together. That's the moral. We have
That'd be quite a
You
lesson
see,
to learn.
you see, Tails. Whenever you're entrapping someone against their will, make sure that the bars are very close together so that your prisoner can't escape.
Thanks, Sonic.
If you build a cell poorly made, you're really. I'm trying to make a.
That's so good.
No, I'm trying to make a variation of the "you're all wet," but it doesn't really work in this context. It's just. Again, like I said, for me, the most bizarre Sonic says to me is not even the one about the pedophilia. I mean, everybody likes to comment on that, but to me, by far, the most bizarre one is the one about the washing machine. Saying that regularly American kids die inside washing machines. Like, and I always wondered myself, is this really a common problem? Like, alright, what the heck? I don't get a single word of that. Where's the old sorceress anyway?
She's speaking to you in riddles. It's kind of her ploy.
Yes, please. Oh,
But this don't. Oh,
go ahead,
But this
Joe.
stone tablet says we're not allowed to touch it. Hey, you missed your lines.
You're talking
Don't
about-
steal mine.
We're talking about We're talking about Sonic. You snooze, you. I'll let you know. Snooze. That's an elf line. Never mind. Go ahead.
Come to think of it, doesn't this design on the floor resemble the giant clock? Maybe the two are related.
Okay then.
Yes. And there was a similar pattern on the floor in the other room as well.
All right, sounds simple enough to me.
Yes.
Let's try looking into this. By hook or by crook, we've got to see the old sorceress.
All right then.
Wouldn't
Oh.
it suck if it turns out the old
Ow.
sorceress died from old age while waiting for us?
Would be an interesting twist if the villain that's been built up for the dungeon actually did, died away and you need to fight something else.
Again, about her being evil. The townspeople seem to think she was nice.
Okay.
Or, well, that she was, I guess, not necessarily malicious.
All right. So let's take a look into these various mirrors, see where they lead.
And look at that, the mirrors look like eyes staring at you.
Be careful. One of those mirrors could drop you in like molten magma.
Do we ever figure out what's up with the ghost, though?
You can easily theorize once you figure out who the sorceress is. So
Okay.
hold on to that.
On to your butts. So yeah, if I recall correctly, this is one of those, magic mirror teleportation part of a dungeon.
Oh, here it is.
It'd be interesting if
And
the
you need to use
sorceress...
that as a reference, the pedestals, the light that are glowing as a reference to where you are in relation
And
to
we have a
what.
lever here. There we are.
Pull the lever, Kaim.
You know, it'd be interesting if the old sorceress is actually one of Kaim's children who's trying to collect on child support.
Jesus.
I mean,
Even in a mystical land, the ways of the IRS are immortal.
oh, here it is. I think this is the correct one. Yeah, there we go.
This light's got something to do with it. I'm sure of it. Yes, I feel faint magical vibrations in the air, too.
It's tingly or something.
All right, so that's the basic gist of it. We need to find the diagram on the floor that has the exact same light from the one in the center. Like for example, we go back. You see that one there, right? We have to now wait and see. But there you go. As you can see, I'm just trying. For now, I'm just exploring so I can get this chest.
Ka-ching.
Goddess Edison.
Oh yeah, this is the strong stuff.
I guess so. Like with
a
a name like that.
Goddess high.
Yeah, with a name like that, it sounds like an item that would be in Fairfence Ref.
I get the idea it might be the equivalent of the elixir item.
Lost.
Possible.
Oh, I obtained the full box set of Lost.
Oh, cool! Enjoy it. Although,
I mean, these days it's all available.
Sucks.
I mean, these days it's all available on Disney Plus anyway, so I can imagine the box set is not as expensive.
Right, Disney owned that.
Well, that's the thing, Jova.
They
It's not
always
even
owned
something.
it.
Yeah, it's not something we inherited. They always owned it.
Yeah.
Get ready
That
for
is-
the Boarding Kingdom Hearts, where Sora mistakes the island for Destiny Island.
Yes. and sometimes it's a bit hard to keep track of what Disney always owned or what they
Again, there's a
purchased.
fuck ton of touchstone properties that we didn't knew that much that Disney owned until it was more public knowledge. I mentioned the
Can we
movie.
get a-
I mentioned the movie Con Air when we commented on Army of Thieves. Then there's a lot of Jerry Bruckheimer stuff. There's a King Arthur movie that I watched in theaters in 2004. That one too is touchstone.
Can we get a
Basically,
Kings of the
Touchstone.
World next?
Basically,
Sure,
a lot of those
yes.
Touchstone movies are from a time where Disney didn't want people to know that they were making more adult things, or at the very least, so much in the marketing. I feel like starting with Pirates of the Caribbean was when Disney were more okay with letting more
Actually, if I
adult-oriented
recall
stuff have their
correctly,
logo.
and if I recall correctly, they eventually did disband the Touchstone brand anyway. And like I said, we had a partnership with Jerry Bruckheimer, which had the kind of reputation, and that's when we got stuff like Pearl Harbor.
Like, Jerry Bruckheimer is capable of producing good stuff, but yeah, Pearl Harbor sucked.
Alright, this is the last one, I think.
There we are.
And it all comes together.
With all your powers
And
combined.
the rock breaks for some reason.
Well, it's kind of metaphoric, it was kind of put in rhymes, but that was what it was written, basically.
We broke the riddle.
Alright everybody, in the next part we finally meet the sorceress face to face. So see you then.
Alright, see ya.
Bye.